you do have a good vehicle, it's gonna last you a long time, it's mechanically good shape, or do you maintain a couple older trucks like we've been doing for the past?
Yeah,
And
you get a dent or a scratch,
right,
you're not
you
gonna
don't
cry
care
over it.
about it, you
Yeah,
haven't
nobody
spent that
cares,
much
yeah.
money on them, you didn't buy something brand new, some ridiculous price, something, you know, you can still work on, so that's our train of thought, is to buy a used truck and put a skid tank on it, and hopefully it'd be better shape or newer than, you know, our 30-year-old truck. And, you know, if something did happen to the other truck, then, you know, at least we have something that's more
You
dependable.
get something in mind for our size and
I'd
shape,
like to get a 1-ton truck.
maybe with a dump body or
No,
flatbed.
just a
Flatbed?
flatbed, or pickup, either 1-ton pickup or 1-ton flatbed, something we put a skid tank on.
Four-wheel
Dual
drive, so-
dual four-wheel drive, yeah. You know, the truck we have now is an old military truck, very low geared diesel truck, it is in good shape, we got it still in really good shape, but, you know, it's slow on the road. We found last year, you know, we got called in more fires than we had in the past, it was extremely dry last year, could be again this year. You know, that truck went all the way to Tilton, Northfield. You know, we were in Buxton with it, almost to the Canadian town line, the truck got used quite a bit, and, you know, it's just not made to go up the highway. You know, Woody took it to Northfield and had to shut all the red lights off and drive 50 miles an hour when those other guys are doing 60 miles an hour.
Otherwise I'm just gonna do three.
You just can't keep up, so we really need a little modern truck than we got.
This one just died, is that what happened?
The other one,
There
we
you
just
go.
got rid of?
Yeah, you
That's
just,
a
yeah,
state.
you just
Yeah,
told
it was
me
a
to
state
take it off
truck,
the insurance.
it was actually more of a liability than it was an asset to us, just because of its age. You know, driver, limited on drivers to it, parts, maintenance, you know, it really is, like I said, 60-year-old vehicle, we probably shouldn't really be, going up and down the road with it. It worked good for what we needed it for, but it just got to the point where, you know, needs to be replaced. So, we're fortunate to be able to give it back to the state and turn it over to the town of Hopkinton. So, you know, need be if it's close to Dunbarton, if we need it, cause it will go places where other vehicles won't go. Those trucks are narrow, short wheelbase, you know, they're pretty rugged trucks, so, you know, it is what it is, and we turned it in, so. We had two at one time, and then we replaced another one. We had mechanical problems with the truck we got now, that 85 Chevy that we bought through federal surplus. And, you know, at the time, you could buy trucks like that through surplus, federal surplus, but they basically closed their operation now. They can't get vehicles like they used to, the federal side of it. Now, that thing used to be full of vehicles, you could go there and they could, well, find you a decent vehicle. Now, we don't have that resource. You know, some of the stuff they turn in the regular state surplus, now we can't even buy that without going to the auction, so.
It's all that stuff you don't want.
Yeah, it's high mileage and
Yeah.
used and so, you know, anyways, that's the thought. Townspeople don't wanna do it, and they can vote it down. Now, we talked about capital reserve, you know, we need to start, we talked about this in CIP, we need to start saving some money for a new engine. In, you know, 2021, our truck will be over 30 years old, our 91 engine one, so, you know, we get our money's worth out of our vehicles. You know, we get the years out of them. You know, when we buy them, we try to spec them, not the fancy stuff on them, but the practical stuff that's gonna last, you know, bigger rear ends, engines, kind of stuff like that, so. Unfortunately, you know, we're hoping that when the time comes, we're talking around $400,000, but, you know, I was talking to the chief of Canterbury today, and they're going for a truck, and they met with a vendor last week, and what they're looking at is $450 to $500 today, so, you know, I'm hoping in 21, you know, we might not have $100 million, might have to look at other options, but at least we gotta start saving some money, you know. And, you know, in the past, I mean, this truck we bought in 05 is already gonna be 15 years old, that's our newest truck, and same thing, we bought that, and we paid $250 for it at the time, which was considered a bargain. Other towns were spending $350. You know, we were able to buy that, kind of a plain Jane truck, a stock truck. You know, not a lot of bells and whistles, but, you know, practical truck, so hopefully, in, you know, 2021, I will be able to try to do the same thing. You know, I've been watching prices of trucks the last few years, they haven't gone up, you know, crazily, but they haven't gone up. But,
Maybe some new emission packages come out between now and then. Who
yeah,
knows?
you never know what's gonna happen. You know, the sales might go down, they'll drop the price again, you know, the economy turned around a little, and I was just reading the journal the other day, fire truck sales are up 20-30%, just because,
Everybody waited so long.
right, people have been putting off, now the economy's come around a little bit, so, you know, it might turn the other way, and they might have to drop the prices or offer deals. There's always stock vehicles out there, and, you know, these manufacturers build up, you know, stock vehicles, and go from there, so, like I said. But we gotta start saving, because, for the cost, obviously.
Right.
You know, that's a lot of money in anybody's book. $500,000 for fire trucks. Seems high, but if you look what's being bought out there, it's not. You know, I was up at the banks the other day, when I took my ambulance up to get service, there's a $60,000 pickup truck sitting on the floor up there.
I doubt it.
You look at that, you know, $60 pickup truck.
Like to know what it can
But,
do.
you know, you can buy a truck for $20, it's the same thing with fire trucks. Alright, that's all I got.
Any questions or concerns or thoughts for Richard?
No, this is pretty straightforward.
Nice job, thank
Hello.
you, John. Appreciate that.
Okay, man.
Can I go back to the building?
You can.
Yeah.
Sure. I would just as soon see that first line, have a 0.
Well, it'll get rounded. He typed it in based on the calculations,
Yeah,
but
okay.
when I present it, this will be
Okay, well,
808.
I'm looking at it now, and it's good.
808. Got it.
Yeah, round it up.
Yeah, we don't wanna go with the penny severity.
No,
No, round numbers.
Well, that's what's gonna be presented.
Yep.
It's usually, after,
okay.
50 cents and higher.
This is the
That's
whole thing?
Well, no, that's just an up-to-date budget
Okay,
through today.
cause you're next on the line, so, the agenda.
Yeah, I'm not doing my budget tonight, but I did present to you in your packet a draft.
Is there anything to go over on this before we go?
Well, it's information only. You
Okay.
have a balance remaining on the back. We still have some few pending. I've got, a bi-weekly payroll from Jeff that's coming in. Jeff, John said he had,
Oh yeah, I wanna discuss that with you, forgot. That bottom number of mine,
yeah,
Which one are we talking about, current budget or next year's?
we're off quite a bit on that figure, so I need to come in and,
You must be talking about this year's then?
yeah,
Okay.
there's no way that I have that kind of money left, so, something's got,
I ran a report today in 6604. That's not correct?
604.
That's
I
not,
got 70,
oh, that might be just from your worksheet that I gave you at the time, John.
this was printed, let me print me.
14, and I ran this
Okay,
report today.
So what are you at now?
I'm at 6604 remaining.
It's,
and 11 cents.
it's still a little high.
Okay. We'll have to do a detail on your.
Well, I got some,
Well,
the
did you
problem is, got some credit card charges,
Oh, did
that-
we
Yeah,
have
we
a
got a whole
process?
bunch of them, we're trying to
Oh.
sort them out,
You're right.
it's a mess.
right, that's not easily, I know how much I've spent,
Yeah,
so,
and they haven't been billed to your
Right.
accounts yet,
and they
okay.
haven't
See,
been,
they went to a new thing, she gets a credit card and it's just withdrawn from our account.
right.
She did it for 2 months.
So they will detail it?
and they
Yeah, we
put-
should have a detail.
Yeah, but they
Well,
don't
I used to,
detail
but this is a new thing that
until-
the treasurer did.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
but we don't get the copy
No, and see, I'm chasing,
until
I like 4
month
folders
after,
now.
whatever,
Yeah.
whenever the charges come out, so you need to go back,
There's at least $3,000 in it.
yeah, I know I do, and I have the
that much
receipts.
on those.
Oh, yeah.
You started
But
collecting.
Yeah, I just started
Why this
working on it.
figure is, I was kind of.
The receipts should go to you so you can reconcile them with the
No,
detail.
no, she wants them and she just
That's not her
automatically pays them.
job.
I don't know, ask Lynn what the deal is.
That's not her job.
She changed the method of payment for the credit card so that we can get
Mhm.
rewards back and get
Yeah.
cash back.
Okay,
That's one of her investment changes that she's made.
that's fine. But the process still has to include you guys in the whole process.
Absolutely. Well, we're finding that out now. It's only been in effect 2 months, and it's,
2 months of misery.
yeah, it's,
So
I got ahold of you guys, you
use
got
all
pretty
the
good coverage?
process?
yeah.
Okay,
So you're gonna have,
Yeah.
Allison
I got-
did a wonderful job with the
That's what I
breakdown.
used to use.
She
Used
put
to
a
work
cover
great.
sheet, and she had
Mhm.
the accounts that we had to separate the whole bill
Yep.
to, and then, and when she posted it, it automatically billed the departments and withdrew from the checking account. Now it gets paid to a credit card.
See, but she pays it, but we got no idea what those charges, if they're legitimate or
well,
not.
she should be paying it until you reconcile with the receipts that the departments
That's
give
the way
you.
she's doing it.
Yeah, otherwise that, I mean, you know, what if there's something we wanna dispute or
yeah,
something?
I was just gonna
Right.
say that,
Oh,
how
yeah.
can she be
That's what I
paying,
said.
I think it's an automatic debit
Withdrawal.
from
can't do that, you cannot spend money without the selectmen's authority. That's what the manifest is for, if we don't sign that manifest, she can't pay any of those bills. So
That
she
includes
can't,
credit cards.
she can't automatically start paying
that's
bills.
I don't know how
Circumvent the
she did
system.
that.
What?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's circumventing
Yeah.
the process, yeah.
I don't know.
I thought that wasn't supposed to be
I mean, I know
charged
she's got the good
until
intentions
after.
of doing.
Well, I don't know, but I
Right.
look at these
The
credit
intentions are
cards
good.
But we gotta
in,
know what the consequences
Yeah.
are.
in December's, it says on it, paid November's, and it's got, it obviously got paid, but it never ran through us.
You can't do that.
We'll work on it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could just let us know how you make out with that stuff, cause I mean, yeah, that's just.
But that's why your charges aren't on
I
there.
mean, I know she's got the best
And he's
intentions
got
and
a
that's
bunch of
great, but I
checks,
mean, we do, the consequences are gonna take care of, bite us in the butt.
I'm just concerned there'll be a bill on there that we shouldn't have paid.
Right. Yeah,
Exactly.
somebody else's,
I found out about that, but
that trip to Disneyland.
Don't give me any ideas, please. Alrighty,
Lucky me. No interest in
you're
Disney.
still up, you digressed,
Well,
you wanna deal with this now?
What do we do
I
now?
don't know if you, this is the first draft for the town warrants. It's, something that we're gonna have to, you guys are gonna have to give me information on, and that
Yeah.
information's gonna come from the CIP, it's
Yeah.
gonna come from a board decision, whether you follow the CIP, if you don't. I did start, because I have a number of petition warrant articles that we had to, implement that have been reviewed. I'm still waiting on this number 15, whether it's a valid warrant article. I got the information from you yesterday for the highway, road improvements. So this is just the first draft. I didn't want you guys to forget that we need to discuss this and how you wanna proceed with it. So I provided you with the CIP, the draft warrant, and then the language or the portal view of,
I think number 6 is on West,
Number 6, I'm still on number 3.
sorry. Well, number 6 is the, for the capital reserve for the, reevaluation.
Oh.
But I think Tim said that at this point in time, we have to still confirm that though.
he did today.
We did.
He says he does wanna put it back in.
Okay,
He's coming back on the 21st, but he does wanna put it back in,
Mhm.
so that's,
part of that, legal question for, that we're gonna be looking at a couple of legal opinions, whatever we have
Yeah.
listed there. The contract for the, utility appraiser, Who has the authority to sign for that, to bind the town, is it us, or is it the board of appraisers, since they have that, been given that authority on appraisals, by RSA's, by,
Yep.
to do all the appraisal stuff. With this contract is part of theirs.
okay. Cause I know, I looked in the vault in the last 2 revals, 2000 and, I think there was one from 2008, which would be around 2007, and then this last one, 2005 and 10, were all signed by the board of assessors.
That's what I thought. Just to verify.
Is, cause they're kind of like almost in a quasi separate board situation, but yet they're not, so, you know.
Yep.
Milfoil, Did we get a hold of you already about milfoil?
I saw the initial, application for milfoil, I sent them an email today asking them where we stood with that, if there were if there was funding, if,
I thought the league got a clean bill of health
I
last
thought so too.
Yeah. Thought they said there was nothing.
No, it's never gonna end. I mean, hopefully the cost will go down,
Yeah.
it has been every year.
Yeah, it has been,
But it's
yeah.
never gonna be zero, you're always
No.
gonna have to monitor it.
On number 10,
Yeah,
it says to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000.
got that 60, yeah, I just got there.
So was it 60 or 20?
It should
well,
be
now I
60.
know the
Mine says
amount is
60.
60, Allison, this is
It's
draft.
60?
Yeah,
So I
Yeah, this
crossed
is-
out
That's-
20,
This is what
Oh.
John is asking for,
right.
60.
60.
Yep.
The other one is, that's for the capital,
Why are we going so fast here? I'm still on three.
3, that's the one for,
which one is it, John, the fire? Where's my-
10.
the sale of land.
Alright, he wants one for forestry truck for 20, which I don't have to add now, and then capital reserve for the engine for 60.
And that's number 10.
I don't think I have the 20 in there yet. No?
No.
Have to add that one. 60 is okay, and then add 20,000 for a forestry truck.
Number 3 is from the Mike Guiney easement issue.
Yeah.
That's where that one came from.
That's the RSA. Does that work for you? I still have to have the DRA review these.
So it's legalese,
Yeah,
but so what are you asking?
basically, it's, the town is voting to let us, as selectmen, be the agents to take and deal with the sale, acquisition of land, which would include easements, even though it's, like permanent easements.
So it says acquire or sell land, buildings or both.
Right,
Correct.
So you're gonna go to town meeting and you're gonna ask the voters to give you permission?
no, give the board,
Give the board,
not me.
Well, but I mean the
The
select
collective
board.
board,
The select
collective
board.
view.
The collective view, that's right. Permission to buy or sell land or buildings
correct.
without their input?
No, that's the whole idea, if you read the rest of it, you gotta have at least 2
Well, yeah,
public
right,
hearings, you have to have,
But I see, without having to go to town meeting?
right,
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's gonna pass. You can try it.
don't know.
I
This
mean,
is- this
I
is where we had
remember,
the problem with
when
Kelsey
they
Road.
wanted to spend $800,000 for the building.
If you want me to take it out, then
No,
I'll take it
you-
out.
I
I'm
mean,
just saying,
whose idea was to put it in?
you guys, when we were discussing Kelsey Road,
Okay.
I have all these notes put into my binder for
What does
budget.
it got to do with Kelsey Road?
That was an easement, our attorney said that we could not
Sign a
Sign
permanent easement.
a
Right.
permanent easement because hadn't adopted the 41.1A.
Yeah, we had to adopt this RSA.
You
in
have
order
to
adopt
adopt
we
this
have
or go to
temporary.
town meeting to do
Yeah,
it.
okay,
Yeah,
I
that's why
wasn't,
we have a
I wasn't
temporary.
part of that conversation.
That's right.
Oh, that's right, yeah,
Yeah, he
were.
wasn't.
Yeah, cause you recused yourself.
Yeah.
from
I
that.
had to. Okay.
Yep.
Alright, you can try it, I just don't see where.
They voted that down before.
Yeah,
I know they have.
I vaguely remember them trying this.
Well, that's the whole point of the board standing up and presenting it in a way
Mhm.
that the voters understand. And if they say
Right.
no, then it's no. If
Yep.
you want me to take it out, I'll take it out. I'm just trying to be
I'll
proactive
leave it in
to
there.
get my job done so that I'm ready
Well, we'll
for,
see what for the
public
time being,
hearing.
this is only a draft,
that's right.
it's only a draft.
And then, first one was requested by the trustees of the trust funds,
Yep.
that you know. Ted, number 4, do you still want me to pursue that? That was one you asked me to look into.
So Steve,
Oh, it was the naming of the fund, wasn't it?
Correct.
yeah, it doesn't change the purpose, does it? It changes
Just the name.
the naming.
Correct.
That's a 2/3 vote?
Yep.
You might wanna put a slash there instead of period.
Oh, I did, I meant to, yep.
Yeah, but you asked, who is it, DRA you asked?
Yep.
But I agree with what he's saying, we're not trying to change the purpose of the existing.
No, we're
She
just
said you
calling
still have to
basically
do it that way, I'm just. Alright, change CRF. To change the purpose of a CRF, and what I explained to her is, let me put the other half. The purpose the purpose of the title was to have it for vehicle and equipment. You wanted to say just specific to a vehicle, so she's saying you wanna change the purpose of the title. You don't wanna buy just equipment with it, you want it just specific to, so it is changing the purpose. To change the purpose of a CRF, a warrant article must be acted on at annual meeting by 2/3 vote. All of the voters present and voting, RSA 3516. The vote does not require a paper ballot, however, a vote count in the minutes is required to verify 2/3 vote. Authorization must be given to name agents to expend from this capital reserve fund if agents are intended. You don't have to do it that way.
we
So
actually
she
just
gave a
got-
recommendation to see if the municipality will vote to change the purpose of an existing, to use this, highway heavy equipment capital reserve fund to the refuse Packard capital reserve fund, 2/3 vote required, so she gave me the.
But the way you just said that, if I heard you correctly, we're actually gonna have to put a vote count in the minutes, so that means we actually have to count people's
Correct.
hands still.
hands in the
That's
air.
near and count.
So you have to know how many cards you've handed out in order to know if you've got 2/3 vote.
And you're gonna have to have some type, counting system, which means you have to have people who go out there and start counting down the
Get a
rows.
hand
Yeah.
out,
I don't think it works like that, I think when you come up with it, you will have X amount of votes in the yay and X amount of votes in the nay.
Right.
Yeah, they
You
You
count.
don't have to count the cards, I mean,
Well,
well, you have to
it's
count the
just- you
cards,
gotta
but you don't
votes.
have to know
Yeah,
how
you
many
just
went
You
out.
have a card in your hand, you raise your hand,
Right.
somebody
No,
goes
no, no.
around and
Understand.
counts.
Yeah, I know,
Yes.
but you've gotta know,
You don't have to know how many went out, you just have to
you
have,
have to know that 2/3
you're gonna have
of the
to have,
votes.
like,
Oh, I
You
got
may
you.
have abstentions.
Right, 'cause some
Yeah.
people don't vote
right.
on everything.
Alright, gotcha,
That's-
yeah, right, some folks might not vote.
But I mean, we'll know the number of
Do you wanna
cards
just leave
anyway.
it for now, we'll talk about it
Yep.
again?
Yep,
Oh, absolutely.
that one would be a pain in the backside.
Well,
Well,
Yes.
13 is true.
Yeah,
well,
well, just counting it,
but
and
you
then
got,
it's
you
just
got the
gonna be hard
name blank here, what is it what do you
You-
call that truck you have? It's a roll-off container truck, right, or is it?
It's a roll-off truck, yeah.
Yeah,
What?
but is this,
It's a roll-off
No,
truck.
you trust, you trust.
but is this
I don't know.
What?
specific to a?
Roll off.
You asking what the truck is, or you asking?
What's it called?
It's
He
perfect.
called
wants
a
he
roll-off
wants
truck.
to create a CRF specifically for the roll-off, so that
But we
you
did that
can't
already.
mix it, no, it
No.
says,
Somebody added the word "or equipment,"
and
Right,
and
and that
now,
was to cover your compactor and your bayless.
that was
Right.
not the purpose of the,
Well, actually, it was.
it was not.
but,
Well, I'm not
but,
gonna argue with
no.
you, dude.
You got, you,
It was for the truck and the,
Yeah,
and
you
the,
use the truck as
yeah, the truck and the compactor because of the cost of them. That's why they're in that's why they're in the capital improvements. Because the cost of that compactor is over $15,000, has a life expectancy more than, it meets the
can I,
criteria.
it does,
you,
But-
when you came and asked for a CRF,
Yeah,
you wanted to start putting money aside because the roll-off truck was gonna be around 180 to 200,000, and you
Yeah, it was
needed money
like-
for that. Now, if you wanna go and buy a new compactor, that should be a separate CRF.
but I'm not the one who put the,
Well, I'm not the one that put or
Well,
equipment.
that was before Tom and I were here, so
Yeah.
we
I
can't
mean-
speak to the intent.
I would not change it, in my opinion, because most cap reserve funds that I'm familiar with are specifically for something.
Mhm.
Right.
It's a loader, it's a grader,
Right.
it's a fire
Well,
truck,
that's what we're,
it's a roll-off truck, it's a dump truck.
right,
So people know you're not bunching it into equipment, you know, if you need it, stays there, then you have
Yeah.
a CI, capital
Right,
reserve.
and
fund,
that's
it
what,
sits there.
that's what we're trying to get
That's
to.
what we're trying to do.
We're trying to get to
I
that.
thought you changed it.
No,
Oh.
see, before, Les changed and added the word to make it a little bit more
Right.
user friendly, but if we keep having equipment break down like a compactor,
Yeah.
the money's not gonna be there for your
You'll
truck.
never have the money for it.
You'll never get it, so we wanna
Right.
start a
So,
CRF.
are we gonna start another we can't fund the capital reserve funds we have now. Are we gonna keep, have 45 capital
For
reserve
the
funds
last-
and not fund any of them?
For the last 4 years I've been a selectman, there's not one capital reserve fund that's been shot down. Every time you go to town meeting and say, we'd like to put so much money so we can buy a fire engine, we buy a dump truck, whatever it is, equipment, people always voted for it. They can tell there's gonna be a need, and we're trying to be proactive and start saving money, instead of all of a sudden having a $200,000 bill in 1 year. So, but, we were supposed to be putting that money aside for that roll-off truck. We don't wanna start over the years, start taking 20,000 this year and 30,000 next year for other pieces of equipment, and all of a sudden, when it comes time to buy the truck, what happened to all the money we were putting aside? They got nickel and dime.
So we're gonna have to set up
But where's that
numerous,
control come from? It starts here, and
Numerous
goes
accounts
to
there.
town meeting,
Either
so
that or the equipment that
if
you
it
need
gets
to
nickel and dime,
replace
it's
is
our
just a
fault and
strict
the town's
warrant
fault, because they
article,
Yeah.
voted for it.
But that's all right.
because it's within a reason,
So if we
like
don't,
a buying.
we don't
Yeah.
as a board
Yeah.
take and put forth those nickel and dime warrant articles or withdrawals.
20,000,
it
the
won't happen.
compactor?
yeah,
So,
Probably
I
looking
mean, I
60.
see your point, but I don't,
60,000.
not disagree with what your logic there.
I know the
I'm
intent,
gonna patch it up
and
somewhere.
he
keep
was
running.
there,
Long as I
she
can.
was there.
But
yeah.
that
The
was,
intent
my
was
understanding
for the
was,
roll-off truck.
Yeah, I understand.
And she was
I just
told
had the piston rebuilt,
by
I
Wednesday
put a new motor
to
in,
add the word or
I
equipment.
don't
3 or
doubt
4
it.
years ago,
Can't,
it actually caught
Oh,
fire.
right.
I can't speak to it, but I mean, I don't doubt it, but I'm just saying, the
Now,
buck
the
stops
issue
with,
is
this
structural,
table here, and that's a town meeting, so if
we're gonna have some.
we don't wanna nickel and dime to death, it's up to us.
Yeah, physical pieces. Funding has nothing to do with it, just the way you're setting them up.
Okay.
You get this for that, this for that, this for that, this for that. How you fund is different. Every capital
14
reserve
years
fund
old
is
this year.
specific to what you wanna buy.
Right,
Right, and this is specific enough to what we wanna buy potentially, but I mean, again, like I said, I understand what you're saying about nickel and dime, cause it gives us the option to expand the withdrawals for different things. But if we don't put forth those warrant articles and the town doesn't vote on them, then that money's not gonna get withdrawn. So the control is up to us, if,
it's either that or leave that one there and
These
create a new
represent
CRF for the roll-off truck. If you don't wanna go this route, don't put any money in here because there's some funding there now.
Yeah.
And then just create
Oh,
a new,
yeah, at least
specific to a roll-off truck. Then you
That's an
wouldn't need a
option too.
2/3 vote. You see what I'm saying, Ted?
Right?
If you left this CRF the way it is,
Right.
and created created a new for roll-off, and started putting money in there, the money that's already in that CRF for the vehicle and equipment would have to go before the townspeople to withdraw that money for a compactor or whatever, I don't know what's in
Is there anything even in there, Lee?
Yeah,
'cause
because you didn't spend it all. Your bid came in, you had 58 at town meeting, your bid came in at 31 or 32.
$30,007.
What?
So you
Yeah,
spent a
that
lot less,
capital
so
reserve
that
fund
stays in the fund.
Yeah, 3,000, and if the containers would have cost what he got for quotes,
Right.
a lot of that money would have been gone.
Gone, yeah,
Oh, I thought,
and that's,
and this is ignorance on my part, I thought that whatever was raised and appropriated went back and you still pulled it out of the.
no,
I-
you
that
don't
was-
touch
that's
the
what I
CRF, you take the taxes because you've raised them, and then any balance that you don't have comes out of the CRF.
understood. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You got money in your head.
You all right?
So, on this number 4,
Yeah.
if you jump ahead to 11,
Yeah.
4 is renaming it, and then 11 is funding it?
Well, I added that because Ted was kinda thinking about the language of it, so,
Cause that says, vehicle and equipment again.
correct,
Or equipment, or
Yep.
equipment.
yeah,
It'd
well,
be one of those things you have to put on
So,
you have to put like a caveat there, provided, the name will change if.
yeah,
Well-
no,
number
okay,
4
so
passes
that's
type
why
thing.
that's there,
right,
Okay,
I
gotcha.
think the number 11 could potentially be that spot for creating a new
okay.
CRF for the roll-off. changing, and not
Mhm.
changing
Only the other one
the other one, to leave the other one alone, just wipe it off, wipe the
Okay.
four
How
off,
much does a
create a new.
compactor cost?
You could
Rough
be
idea.
looking at, huh?
Rough idea, I mean,
You could be looking at 60 grand.
so
But
yeah,
I, by
So
the
we
time
have
you do
some
your-
money in there.
Well, here's just my little brain of thought here. If you had, I didn't realize you had 30 grand in there.
should've come to
Going off
see
of
if
what
we can-
Ted's talking about,
Mhm.
would it make more sense, in my eyes, to make that 30 grand one right now, your roll-off one? And then,
You can't, cause otherwise it's gonna take a 2/3 vote to change it.
2/3 vote
Yeah,
to
we
change
have
the
to-
name.
but you don't think that taxpayers, they're gonna wanna change
You're
it?
gonna
Oh, they
educate them, it's
could.
gonna, it could be a long, drawn out debate, I mean, you'd be surprised, the simplest things
Well,
turn
no,
into
I
a
was
long
just
debate,
thinking
we
because
don't
the
have
roll-off
tons
truck
of
costs
time.
3 times, costs this huge amount of money
Right,
versus what this does, you already got a pretty good jump on it right
Mhm.
there. I see where you're going with
but
it.
the thing is, you know, the way the original one's worded, you could still use it for the roll-off,
Right, but
you could use
could-
both.
but by spending it for equipment, you're never gonna have the money there for the roll-off, is what he's saying.
I mean, it still could be used for the roll-off, so you could start another one, fund that one, and then when the time comes, you could use both to do it if the money's still in that other one. You got a question, John, or?
The year we split that money up,
Yeah,
did it went into that
yes.
fund right there?
Yep,
That's cause when it was created, that's the name it's been by ever since. So,
Yeah, we've been putting 20,000 a year, right?
well, it got amended on the floor
yeah,
by you
Right, I
Mhm.
amended it last year.
to 10 grand.
you can.
So now we have 30,000, but we
So-
raised and appropriated 53,660.
Yeah.
So you will spend down the tax-paying portion. And if you had to tap into the 30,000 you have in your CRF, which you're not gonna even,
I mean, I never would
you're gonna hit,
anticipate.
you're gonna use 10 grand roughly out of your CRF.
What?
I was joking, he's joking, I think.
Just
Yeah.
good natured banter.
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
Alright, so we're done with 4 for the time being? 5 is pretty straightforward. You said Tim wants number 6, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, we already know that he wants that one. 7.
See you later.
Mike?
So these numbers are number 8, these are just numbers from last year?
Yes.
We didn't get the numbers yet for this, for the roll
Go-
call?
No, not yet. I sent him an email asking him to start screaming, cause I need
That's
him.
why you're leaving them blank and stuff, it's.
Yep, cause the language is there, it's been approved by the DRA, I just have to insert.
You're gonna insert a new 9 or something, because you go from 8, you
Yeah.
cancel it, 9, and then jump to 10, so.
Right, well, as I delete it, I just wanted it there so you guys can see it,
Okay.
but I don't think we need that one, that's
No.
cemetery monuments,
No.
and
It's done for.
and it's, we still have funding for that, so that's coming out, if you agree.
Yeah, absolutely. This one's keeping me.
I got the number from John,
Yeah.
and that's 60,000. Is that what this, I didn't say that on his, budget, but that's, I have to go by the name of the capital reserve that's there. The one that was set up as a, emergency vehicle, so that's,
So it should be fire truck.
well, he said it to us in his budget, fire truck, but the way the CRF is established is the way the DRA.
Well, fire truck certainly fits that, descriptive.
Well, yeah, it's for any emergency vehicle.
Right,
Emergency
it could be anything, it could be.
It's a vehicle though,
Could be,
Yeah,
it's not,
it could-
exactly, it's
yeah.
not equipment,
it's not
I mean,
equipment,
it could even be the forestry truck,
right.
yeah. But it's for vehicles.
right. And then I'll add another fire department 20,000 for the forestry truck,
Yeah, put
because,
that at number 9.
yeah, we could do that. I'll move it to number 9.
No, we already talked about 11.
Fire truck, 20K, forestry truck.
What did we say about 11?
11, well, I leave it right in there, I mean, but if, depending on which direction we go, which is for a later debate,
Yeah.
I mean, it would be added to the transfer
change.
station roll-off vehicle,
Okay,
capital reserve
so it would
fund.
have to be a new,
Yeah, this would be a new one. so if we fund, then we would just cross out the previously established as summarized in capital improvement. Or as summarized, cause we, it is, we can change that.
So that's for the roll-off truck.
So Grapevine Road is there.
Yep. These below are the petition warrant articles I just got in.
Now, petition warrant articles, is there a particular place they have to go on the,
At the end.
they have to go at the end? I remember, I know there's certain warrant articles that have to go in front, so.
If it had a bond, it had to go first.
Bond is first,
Yeah.
right, there's also, you have special warrant articles and you got warrant articles, so it depends on which one's which, I know there's a pecking order.
Oh, I
Yes.
know the DRA will tell me what the
Okay.
pecking order is when I have to review it. I just need to get a template so I can get the ball rolling, have a review them, so that I'm a little bit closer to the final version. And then the last pages are just the signature pages.
So we have 3 by petition, is that correct?
So far.
So far, yep.
Okay. As part of the library, school MOU, we need to do something there, don't we, for
Oh,
the
yeah, the kitchen, yeah.
kitchen.
That comes under the government buildings.
So ours is
Oh,
not,
wait a minute, do you
Comes out of
wanna
the
do it like they do? It's like.
well, no, we don't have to.
Comes out of that.
No, as long as we,
We've
however we
always-
do it,
We've
I mean,
always done it in the building maintenance.
so we
line.
just, so we'll just put it in
Budget.
our building maintenance, we don't need,
It's 1,000, right, or are they asking
it's,
for more this year?
It's $1,000.
no, it's $1,000 up to, 10 grand, I think is what they're gonna do this year.
Yeah,
We're gonna push that number up,
and then they're supposed to start giving us
yeah.
a yearly accounting of how much they have, and how much
Yeah.
they spend.
So we don't need we don't need a warrant for what
No.
we do there, no?
No.
Okay. That wasn't clear
On
to
the
me.
last page, you might wanna change, so,
Oh, okay, yep.
actually, just had us reversed here.
Okay,
On the last
there,
page.
on the last
Oh.
page as well?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Oh, reverse those two, okay. This is a true copy version as well.
See, that's on the book too.
Okay, so let's fix that one.
Oh, you get Theodore
No, the,
values and you get Ted values, you gonna pick one or the other?
I think he likes Ted.
Check.
Yeah, but
And the,
Ted does.
we're working on a warrant for the cemetery. I, need to write a letter again to, Terry Knowles, cause we need some clarification.
Okay,
So
I
I'm
saw
trying to
it.
get a sample
Yep.
of
Mhm.
how it should look,
Yeah.
so I'll hopefully have that next week.
And the intent is basically to take whatever sale of the, from the lots,
Yeah.
and it goes into an expendable trust for
Right.
maintenance purposes.
Yeah.
Because we're not getting any money out of the perpetual care
Right.
funds, that's worth it, yeah.
I mean, we're not even talking, well, depends on how many you sell, but you're not talking a great deal here either.
No, but it's more than what,
More
You
than
get
what
it-
we,
more
yeah,
than
more
you
than
get
what
for
we're getting
interest.
in interest rate, yeah.
exactly.
So I think what you're asking then is, you can't do anything with what you already have there, but
Correct.
anything moving forward,
Moving
you wanna
forward,
start
right.
anew.
Exactly.
Yes.
I can use some of that language that you have there and
Okay.
send it, plug it into the DRA.
Yeah, that's
You'll
fine,
tell
yeah.
me.
Yeah, you can kinda sketch it out, but,
It's right out of the RSA,
yeah,
probably.
yeah, the RSA was, I forget what the
289,
RSA was, then she,
Is it in that email?
no, it,
Yeah.
I don't think it was on that email, but, I might have it with me here tonight, and
It's
I'll
I think it's 289A,
Uh,
289
yeah.
2A, there we go.
I might have it right here,
Okay.
cause I haven't cleaned up my book from last night, so I might have it,
No, it wasn't, Tuesday night we had it.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
They're all running together at this point, Brian.
I agree.
It's just one big furry blip, fuzzy day.
And it's not over.
No,
Next year we'll start sooner, right, Ted? You'll remind me?
Who's that?
Start the budget process earlier? It was a test. I know it was. Yeah. We have an unbelievably long agenda for next week. We have House of Representatives coming in.
Who?
We
They invite
have
themselves.
the library trustees. Deb Urella finally contacted me, she said next week, I tried to get her in for tonight, she said she couldn't make it. We have a complaint from a concerned citizen that wants to discuss a subject of the police department with the board, which I couldn't avoid. I have the police department, the transfer station, and town clerk. so we're gonna be here late. Is there any chance you guys wanna do a workshop?
I thought we were gonna have the architect in tonight, but apparently somehow we tripped over ourselves on that and didn't
Yeah.
happen.
That'd
So
be
when do we
fun.
wanna have that happen, because,
Personally, if I know you said you want to,
soon.
if we did a workshop, we could get him in on the workshop. Can we do that?
Well, I don't know, you want me to reach out to this guy?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll do it.
and then, any chance you guys are in favor of doing a workshop?
We came 3 nights this week already. That's another.
Well, we could wait and do it, we have a holiday on the 18th, you wanna do it on the holiday during the day? When
Well,
nobody-
holiday for me.
It's a holiday for me.
Martin Luther King?
I get nothing till Memorial Day.
Aw.
You sound like my wife.
Why don't we wait till we get more,
Lean, why don't you make a copy of this, this is the
More
RSA.
budgets?
yeah, more budget, so we can.
Okay, so after next week, we'll have a lot of
Right.
budgets, maybe we can do
Right.
something on Monday.
Yeah.
Or Tuesday. What's that?
This is that RSA for the cemetery,
What is it?
if you wanna,
289:2A?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right
That
on.
was good,
Okay.
Brian.
Expendable trust, okay.
Yep,
They pulled that one out of the crevices of my brain.
man, that was good, I'm impressed.
Alright, I'll cross
There's
them out and see
also,
if it's
an RSA 31,
Colon
colon
39.
19,
That's,
dash A,
well, that's what the expendable trust is gonna follow, is
Right.
that,
maintenance of cemeteries, yeah. Yep, so anyway, yeah, 289 2A. Good job, Brian.
yeah, I mean, they'll have to, the trustee of the trust fund will have to oversee
Alright,
it.
so today is the 7th. We have 3 more Thursdays to meet to just work on the budget. We have to hold a public hearing, at least one, by Friday, February 12th on the budget. And you mentioned something last year, Ted, that I
I'm open all week, except
picked
for
up on,
Thursday.
that I would like to try to do, when I post for our public hearing, you said to include 2 dates, so if there's a snow day, or if there's some changes
Right.
based on the public comments, we have to hold another public hearing. We'll have to consider doing that, I
But
like
they
that.
have to be so many days apart,
Oops.
No, I think if we hold a public meeting,
then,
then we can,
Yeah, you have to hold at least one public,
right,
then the next one, if we have to come back for a second one, has to be 7 days.
oh, I have it on that
I think
sheet,
it's
one
14.
second.
14, yes. Big 7 days notice.
Right, and the thing is, if you don't put it in the notice, then you're scrambling to get the
Right.
time,
But there's
so,
nothing we couldn't say, you know, this will be the public hearing, snow date is on this date, and it's all part of the same notice.
right, and that's what I need. to
That's what
make
the
sure.
school does.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
So-
good with that. I don't have any.
so we could potentially, and I don't think that the 4th is gonna happen, but,
so what date are we talking about?
Thursday, February 11th, I guess.
we're looking at a potential public hearing though, it's on this reverse
Yeah,
sheet that you
yeah,
have, if you
yeah.
have it. February 4th, February 11th, and the absolute last day to have at least one public hearing is February 12th.
alright, well, the 4th is fine.
I go the
And-
4th and, you don't wanna do it on a Friday night, I'm sure.
No,
So,
How about the 4th and the 9th?
okay.
Is there a snow day?
election day is
Well, you
February
can
9,
do the
right?
11th.
Oh, that's right, February 9th
But
is,
the other thing too is if the later I create, the later we have our public hearing, I'm looking to get the town report, the final version, to the printer to get a 2-day turnaround,
Well,
so.
let's do it on the 4th,
yeah, we can do it on the 4th, but she's looking for a snow date.
the 10th,
The 4th is,
that's a Thursday.
Thursday, 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Thursday is the 11th,
Of February?
yeah,
No, the first Thursday is the 4th.
Yep,
right,
First Thursday in February is the
and then
4th.
the 11th
Yeah,
is
so,
the second Thursday.
so
correct,
then I said the 10th.
right, so if we pick the day that's a little bit earlier than the 11th, that just gives that additional time.
Well, you could do it the 8th.
talking about having a public hearing.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I have to get this information together to get ready for the newspaper, and then we have to really,
Well, I say the 4th,
Yeah.
with a backup of the 8th, which is a Monday, the following Monday.
It's the day before the primary.
That's all right.
You can see it now.
You guys have to do anything for that?
We
Yeah, we
gotta
got
be
work
there,
over there.
we gotta be there at the primary. I mean, I'd get the night off for that day, I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys
I
do.
did too.
We're gonna, the 8th as well, we have elections that day too, so,
What?
March 8th,
Oh, March 8th.
so, just give you a heads up. And I know in September, there's another primary for the rest of the federal offices, and then we have the November election for everything,
Alright, one more time.
Right, let's start with,
4th,
let's start, all right, January 7th is.
Today.
today.
Right, so cross that off. Next week, are you having all the rest of the departments comes next week?
Yep,
Pretty much.
Okay, so we'll have her in one turnaround for the whole budget.
correct. So that leaves us two Thursdays to really button up and cut or change the budget as
Well,
you see fit.
Get
for-
everybody here on the 14th, and that gives us the following Thursday to go through it, and, you know, from stem to stern, right?
Correct, but we have George Sansucci coming in on the 21st.
Yeah, but he ain't gonna take forever and a day, is he?
Well, he's very talkative.
Where does he come in?
Tim Tarani's, spoke with him at length today, and he said he'd be glad to come in and explain to you what it is that he does to collect.
That could take some time.
It
Yeah,
could.
why do we care about that?
Well, after last night, and I think Tim has kind of, got his nose put out of place. So, I think he's coming back to take and prove his point.
Well, you know the problem I had about that is we're discussing with them what it is that Sanssouci does
Mhm.
and the cost. And they're telling us, at the beginning, they told us one thing, and then when I was objecting to the price and that, then they changed what they were saying, and saying, well, that extra money, he actually uses it as during the year. Well, I got a copy of the contract today, and if you look at what I
See it.
underlined, there's no question that 4,000, the 10,000 is his yearly fee.
Correct.
And the 4,000 that we're gonna pay him extra every year is for a reval that he's gonna do in 2020. That was what we were going back and forth on.
I think that,
But I think
Tim's
the
point.
argument that you were having is that the 14,000 should go out to bid. Or was it you just didn't wanna pay him 4,000 today before he does the work?
Right.
Well, what-
My argument was, right, at first, see, we got a proposed budget a week before they came in, and it said one thing, it said 10,000.
Right,
Then they came in to produce their budget,
correct, and it was
and
changed.
it was $4,000 more.
That's because Linda Kennedy from his office, I think it was Linda Kennedy's, one of the Lindas, from Sansucci's office, called me and said, do we normally include the reval year in your proposal? And I said, I think that's the way they've done it in the past, they spread the reval year over the 5 years.
I got two double pages here.
Right.
I got 2 page 4s.
Maybe you can, one of them. You got page 4?
Page 4?
Page 4 out of 6. If you
Nope.
did-
I do not have a page 4.
Okay, so, yeah, my first argument was, this is a contract for 10,000 a year,
Correct.
and it's also a multi-year contract. So this should go out to bid. That was my first argument. My second argument is, we shouldn't be paying him 4,000 a year for 5 years for something he's gonna do 5 years from now. But, you know, our policy is, we don't prepay for services and goods. So you're paying him 4,000 a year for 5 years for something he's only gonna do 5 years from now. That's contrary to what we've been saying all along. We don't prepay.
That's the way they've done it all along. The last 5-year contract, which included the reval year, was 18,000 a year to spread the cost of the reval, so it wasn't a big impact on the taxes
Okay,
in
but-
1 year.
But that was before this policy was instituted. You know, when, in fact, actually, that policy had been instituted for Henry, cause that policy ended when we lost $10,000 in renovation of the bathroom.
Okay, so,
You gave the contractor $10,000, he never showed up. So you had to hire somebody else for $10,000. We
Okay.
says from now on, we're not prepaying for goods or services.
okay, Tim's argument was that, I lost my
I
train
think
of thought.
he's doing some of that to reval during the course of each year.
But he's not. You read the contract, he's not. The 10,000 is for
I think he would,
basically
Yeah.
appraisals and just, it's the
That's
same,
what
it's
it
the
was.
same thing.
Okay, wait, before I lose my train of thought.
Yeah, okay,
The bid policy.
yeah.
He had Scott Marsh do research for the bids, for that type of service.
Right.
It's sole source. It
Right.
falls under our,
It can't be sole source. They're gonna there's, just in New Hampshire, there's over 220 towns and cities.
okay,
And he does like maybe 60 of them.
Yep.
Somebody's doing the other 150, 160.
so
And
how
then-
do you wanna proceed with this budget? Put 14 or put 10, and then put it out the bid in March? You
Okay,
could still, without paying him a dime, put a budget number in there for this year, and then put it out the bid in March.
right, well,
Yes,
that's where we were arguing yesterday, but we didn't have this in front of us
that's right, it just came
to,
in,
to make the argument.
it came in after,
I mean, it says it right here in the letter.
that's the minutes.
Yeah, this is their minutes.
that's
Yeah.
their minutes, and it's wrong,
Yeah, that's wrong.
it's wrong.
I
And I
know,
pointed that
but
out to Janice.
The amount is wrong, but the intent is right, is we're gonna pay $10,000 a year for services
Mhm.
and so much in 2020 for a reval.
Mhm.
I don't think we should be paying him for 5 years for something he's gonna do 5 years from now. I can't get my head around doing that.
I understand what you're saying. Between now and the time that they show up to have this continuous discussion,
Mhm.
is there a way to take and memorialize, whether it's by telephone quotes or otherwise, the lack of people out there or
Yeah,
businesses?
Scott was supposed to send me something, but he
Okay.
didn't.
Well, his notes here say that they did that, or that he was gonna go do it. I don't know
Yeah.
if they did it, cause this is Christmas Eve again.
Yeah, when they came in yesterday,
Right.
they said they couldn't find anybody else.
Right.
So, yeah, we need to take
I
control
think
of
there's an opportunity here for us to start another business.
Or another job position.
Yeah, gee whiz. Well, either that or we have to get into the insurance business, one or the other.
What's the name of that?
This is good to know. From this.
Alright, so would you say now that you would like to talk to him? Or you don't wanna bother talking to Skip and Susie?
I think it would be good us to do that, just to have all our ducks in a row.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay,
I
so
think so.
I'm
I mean, unless you guys don't want to, but I mean.
Well, I don't know why, I'm a little confused why we want to at the moment. Because if we're gonna send this, if we're gonna budget 10 grand or whatever it is, and then we're gonna put it out for bid, why do we wanna talk to Skip now? We're looking for a budget number to use, this is it. And then if we're gonna send it out for bid, I don't see the point in having
So-
Skip come in.
But the point is, if the bid comes in, how do you want the bid written up? You're saying you don't wanna pay him in advance. It's like by signing a contract, they're guaranteeing that the services of the utility pickups for that reval year is not gonna exceed the 20 grand. So I would think that that would be the normal way for them to write the bid, give us a price for your annual pickups, plus the cost of the utility service.
But here's the analogy. You have another appraisal services that does all the houses in town,
Mhm.
land and buildings, right?
Mhm.
And they charge you so much every year.
They do it per diem. They
Okay,
charge by
but they
parcel.
charge you so much. And then, at the same time, we know that in so many years, we're gonna have to do a reval.
Mhm.
So we have a warrant article, and every year we ask money to be put aside in a CRF, so when it comes time to do the reval, we have the money.
Okay, well, that's fine then, and what Tim said last night was that there's no guarantees that that utility
Exactly.
pickup is gonna be 20 grand. It may be increased to 40 grand.
But by
Especially
your
with this.
argument is, why don't we do the same thing with the houses, the other appraisal?
That's something completely different, there's an
I
expansion
don't
of
know of
lots,
anybody in this,
new construction.
I don't know of anybody in this room that would be willing to pay somebody $4,000 a year for 5 years for something he may do 5 years from now.
Well, it's
He's
not
gonna
that, it's a
have,
shall do.
he's gonna have the 20,000 in his pocket.
It's a shall do, that's why, if you don't, then he owes us the money back, obviously.
Yeah, but I mean, what happens if they go out of business
Go
and
out of
dies, whatever, I know what
business.
Ted's saying, can that money be put into some sort of a,
Well, that's
CRM, it
No.
can,
That's-
but there's no guarantee
No,
it's
no,
gonna be
with
20
them.
grand.
With them.
Time out, guys,
Uh-oh.
please. But I think we're getting too much cross-contamination here, and our rules are basically, this is our discussion.
Right.
And when it's public comment time, Ralph, have at it, you're more than welcome to chime in. But we shouldn't be asking everybody else to weigh in on this discussion.
I wasn't asking. I
Well,
was-
you-
I was
you got-
making
you
a
asked-
statement.
you
I
know, anybody in
can't,
this
I
room.
can't see, yeah, I
You said
can't.
anybody in this room, and so that you opened the door for,
But I
and
wasn't
I understand
asking
where
the
he came
question.
from, and, yeah,
Okay, but anyway,
Alright,
I just wanna make sure we stay on track here.
I know I don't wanna be giving somebody 4,000 a year for 5 years for something he's gonna do maybe 5 years from now.
oh, maybe that's an argument you can have with him on the 21st.
Well, I mean, I think the answer, Tom's, I think, you know, to be fair to Tim and everything, that, for the work that they've done, that we ought to be able to hear him out. That's just throwing it out there, cause, as you know, he was a little hot. last
Tim?
night.
Oh yeah, Tim was not happy with us.
No, he was not happy,
No.
and I think to be fair, cause otherwise that, we could end up with only a board of 2 assessors or less, potentially.
But he's gotta quit on,
Hmm?
he's moving, he's
He's
moving,
leaving town,
Oh,
apparently.
He
Just
lives
heard
in
that
Rye.
last night.
sold his house.
I didn't know that.
Hmm.
So he's being a nice guy and helping us out to the end.
Well, that's what he said to me, he said that for all the years that he's put into the town,
Mhm.
he doesn't wanna see it all get unraveled
Yeah.
and become problematic.
Tim's a good guy.
He is.
So I mean, to, you know, to hear him out, I think we probably, you know, at least owe him that much out of respect. That's just my 2 cents. If you two don't wanna hear, to talk to George, then, and Tim, then we won't. Majority rules.
Yeah, I just don't know why, I mean, I get the whole relationship thing, but, yeah, it's not, are we, after hearing him, are we, you know, gonna be more inclined to sign a contract?
Maybe, maybe not, but at least we'll have better clarification on what the whole,
I mean,
The
I don't
whole
know if he
process
would
too.
revise a contract to say that
He may.
at the 5th year that he will contract or agree to bill us 20,000, I mean, he may do that, I don't know.
there's an opportunity to negotiate of sorts. Especially if we don't have anybody else to fall back on to do utility appraisal.
Well, you're not gonna convince me there's nobody else out there can do
No, I didn't say that.
utility
I
appraisal.
didn't say that.
Well, you
So-
just said, nobody was
Well,
called back
they've
on
already
it.
talked to us, Marsh, to go out and
So,
find someone, and they haven't found anybody yet. I'm not saying they can't find
he
anybody,
will give me a report of what he's found, Ted. He didn't say that there weren't anybody out there was nobody interested in picking them up, because it's like someone who provides insurance for you if, or does your audit. I've gotten calls like that, you send out your audits to bid, and you get calls from other auditors saying, how long have you been with them? Do you like them? Well, I'm not gonna undercut him because you may do the same thing to me in 3 years.
Yeah.
So they have a respect amongst each other, so that if there is.
Well, I asked that question last night, that's what I was asking, is that community so tight, cause if San Souci's got 50, someone has another 50 and another 50.
or
But
something.
but if they won't bid against each other because it's that tight of a community.
Yeah, and wait,
And I think that's what we heard last
Yeah,
night from,
yeah.
That's very open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't talk to Scott, he said he talked to Scott earlier in
Yeah.
the day, and
Yeah.
that's when he asked me to provide that one number of the tax revenue that San Souci brings in, because he wanted you to get a big picture of what that number is that we pay for when we pay.
and I don't have a problem doing business with San Souci, but I'm with Ted kind of, what we're paying in advance
Yeah.
Yeah,
for the year 2020. If you get that one thing out of there, then the issue goes away.
Yeah, yeah.
But he wants money in advance
Yeah.
for a service he shall perform in 2020, but he's not a kid. and God forbid something happens to
Oh,
them.
but he has an office with
I
staff.
know,
you
but
know.
still, if it comes unglued and they go
Mhm.
away,
If he does.
Dunbarton has forked over money, and now we don't have somebody to do the work, and now we're chasing our tail for our money and another contractor.
Okay,
That's,
I think he should come in and
That's
talk
my
to the
thing.
board.
that or just
Or-
fix that line. Take that out of there, so that we aren't paying in advance.
Yeah, then you wouldn't have
Right.
to go to bid.
Oh, so you want me to just check to see if
Yeah.
he just amend
She'll
his,
do it.
And then it's bid, yeah.
yeah, then it'll be
That's
resolved, I'll go
that's
for it.
easy path.
Can I have one of those, cause I didn't get a copy. And, so ask him to change,
Yeah, so we aren't paying in
Part where
advance
is
for
the
2020.
you know, the 2020 stuff, the
Yeah.
reval.
And I
Or
think
make a
that's the
separate
issue, like
section on that,
Yeah,
whole
well,
thing, and do the
alright.
reval for a prescribed amount in 20, you know, payment due on that year or something.
I wouldn't pay